We live in such an amazing part of Australia. There's so much to explore and see in our four-wheel drives. We've spent years adventuring through our local tracks and are still finding hidden gems, tough tracks to conquer and awesome camp spots to enjoy. What a spot.
Oh, that angle is bad. That's real bad. That was worse than I expected once I was on it. It's quite a hill. That locker makes a big difference for you.
Oh, incredible. Incredible.
Smash our car to pieces on the way down this hill. Straight into the action. Pretty fun little creek crossing, this one, because the bridge that used to be across there was gone a long time ago, 20-30 years ago now. They made a track down around it which drops down a steep bank and then across all these rocks and the creek, and then zigzags back up the other side. That's the nav through. Dad's coming down next in the MUX. We've got the usual crew, myself and Kai and the nav, and Dad behind us in the MUX. They're off on another local weekend trip away. We are lucky where we live, where we can do a lot of stuff close to home, you know, all within half hour, 45 minutes, and we can take on all different state forests and track. This one you may remember from a video a few months ago where we spent half the day reopening and clearing out this old track, and then we got out here and it's just an amazing spot, but we never got the chance to camp here because it was on our last day. So we're starting off this trip by coming back out this track again, which is a much quicker this time because it's all open and cleared up, and we're going to camp out here on the river tonight. It's not too long to get out here, a couple more obstacles, then we'll be down at our camp spot. It's sort of heading towards late afternoon now. We're up to this section where the main track's collapsed, so you got to squeeze up around the bank, but you can't actually fit straight on, so you got to sort of drive up forwards and then reverse back out of here. A little bit of fun. Now we've got to reverse up the bloody track for a couple hundred meters because it's not really anywhere that great to turn around once you come out of that scene. And then from there we'll drop down onto our camp spot. Pretty keen. Here we are now, coming down to it. What a spot. No one here, thank goodness, because if there was, well, I don't know what you do, turn around and go back. Not too difficult to get in here, a few fun challenges. Didn't need to use the locker or anything too crazy. Spent a few minutes mucking around with the vehicles trying to find a nice flat spot, but I think we've done it. Got MUX, nav, and then we'll put a campfire and set up in the middle there. But how good is this spot? Got some nice rapids coming down there between the rocks to a big swimming hole, and then you got all this waterfront here. Sun's just disappearing out there behind the trees now. Sort of gets darker earlier on this side because the sun sets, but then you get the sun come in here in the morning, not too late. Get this camp set up. Got my new table here. Love this thing already. That's most things set up. Dad's gone for a walk and Kai is reading his book. I'm all hot and sweaty now, so I might go for a swim and then light that fire. Not sure if you remember from last episode, this company in Sydney, Penny Brewing Co, sent me out a few beers to try, and I ended up going with this one, the Penrith Lager, the beer at Penrith. This one was my favourite out of the batch. And they did give me a discount code, so that's there available to use if you're interested in trying some. There's just something special about owning a four-wheel drive and knowing that you can only get to a place like this by four-wheel drive. You're not going to encounter many people out here. Even though we're not that far from home or civilization, you're just out here surrounded by mountains and the rivers. No reception, and it just feels like you're in the middle of nowhere. It's amazing. Trying out a new recipe tonight, some Mexican enchiladas on the fire in the one-pot skillet. First step is going to be dice up all these veggies and cook them on the fire. Red onion, grate up a couple of cloves of garlic, dice up some red capsicum, add some corn in. Put the frying pan on top of the fire and start cooking these veggies through till they're nice and soft. Add in a couple of tins of Mexican beans and a bit of cumin. And then add in some of the sauce, but we need to save some to go on top after. Then the last thing I'm going to add is a little bit of cheese in there and some salt. Bean mix is all done. Tip it all into a plate. Now we'll grab our packet of wraps out and start filling these wraps up with bean mix. Once we roll them up, we're going to start squishing them all back in that fry pan. Got 6 loaded wraps in there, which is as many as we can fit. And then on the wraps, we're going to spread some sauce around on top. Across all the wraps, put some cheese on top, put the lid on top, and then we're going to sit it back on the fire and let it cook through like a little oven. It's been on the fire for a little while, and I reckon it's just about ready. I think we put too much cheese, just like a layer of cheese across it. Other than a little bit too much cheese, it's looking pretty delicious. Got some avocado slash guac there that we can mix around with it. A little bit of sour cream. Kai's never had enchiladas before, so he's freaking out whether he's gonna like it or not.
It's hot, mate.
Well, yeah, it just came out of the fire. Very little bite, just in case he doesn't like it. How's the flavour? Pretty good?
Yeah.
Acceptable dinner?
Yeah.
Looks pretty yum. Beautiful night out here on the river. We've just been relaxing this morning and having some brekkie around the fire. Gonna pack up camp now and then head on out of here. Got this steep, soft, sandy hill up out of here. I'll try and crawl it, but I don't think you can. I think you have to use a little bit of momentum to get up it. Oh, yep. There you go. We're up. On the way back out of that spot where we camped, there's a side track. Hasn't been driven in a while. It's very steep and very rutted out, and looks like quite the interesting hill. I know it winds its way up the mountain there onto another road. I'm just not sure if we'll be able to get through it or exactly where it goes, but I think we're going to head out for and explore along it and see how we go. Should be a bit of fun. Quite a steep hill, this one. Got to very carefully pick your line. You don't want to get it wrong. I'm going to go nice and slow and controlled. Actually climb a hill once you're on it. That was worse than I expected once I was on it. Very steep and it keeps going up and up. It's quite loose and scrabbly and rocky in bits. Oh, don't stall. Definitely hasn't had any cars on it for a while, but it's a hell of a fun hill climb. I can't film all of it, it's just too steep and too hard to stop the car and set up cameras. I'll get what I can. Not sure where we'll end up, but we'll find out. Bit of a tricky hill, that one. Dad's up now too. I've got a little log to clear in front of the car. Fairly steep rock step here to contend with. Should be a bit of fun, but I think we'll be able to crawl it nice and slow. We'll put the throttle controller down to a nice crawl speed, one of the E ones. Work that locker in and off we go. So much fun this track. Can't believe no one's driven it in so long. Just been a combination of track clearing, nothing big, but just quickly grabbing the electric chainsaw out and clearing logs here and there, and then a heap of fun hill climbs. It's quite hot out here as well. Definitely going to be keen for a swim at some stage. I think we're nearly up the top of this track now. Because it's so overgrown, we've been waiting to start coming across some massive logs or something on it, which is why it hasn't been driven. And when I started coming up to these, I thought, oh, here we go, but I can sneak up around the edge of this one. Should be able to squeeze through that. You just kind of got to swing wide then back in. It's a bit of a tight gap. I can take a little bit because that's a big log, but I could slice some off that log, but I don't think it's necessary. See how we go. Got to get up around the bank of this first one. It's definitely tight. I can't see how close I was on the passenger.
Yeah, your rock slide rule. If you can pull it around there, your rock slide will save you here, I reckon. Yeah.
That was a tight squeeze, that one. Is yours any narrower or wider?
I'll tell what paint's on this after we're finished. Yeah.
The only thing I guess is yours is a bit shorter. Yeah, they didn't leave much room with that cut. That's so tight through there. Like, it just, the cut up one's in the way there as well, so you got to come wide, but you can't come too wide. Sort of got to come in on an angle. I've only just fit through that. See how Dad goes anyway. See if, I don't know if his car's any narrower or wider. Don't know. Yeah, you're gonna hit the front doing that. Dad got a little bit stuck trying to line up for that big log. Sort of when he's trying to reverse around, line up. Came back over this one a bit, and then it's stuck itself right in the middle there on a little knob coming off the log. There it is there, there's the diff on the log and the spare tyre's right behind it. It's hard to see on the camera, but it's just jammed up in the middle of everything there. It's also sitting on the trailing arm a bit too. Pack some treads in front of each wheel, just see if we can give it that height to come forward off me. Yep, there it is. Both through that. Surely I reckon we're nearly up the top of this track by now. See on that log there, that's where the trailing arm was sitting, and that's where that was jammed between the diff on this side and the spare tyre on that side. But yeah, the treads gave us that bit of height we needed to get over it. Made it up the top of that track back onto the main forest road. That was, oh, it was a while getting through that. That was probably 3 hours. A fair bit of track clearing. I didn't really film much of it, but just constantly getting out of the car with a chainsaw just to chop branches and little stuff off the road and that. But that's another track in the area cleared and reopened for other people to drive. Where it brings you out up here is another, well, used to be the main forest road, but all the main ways into it are closed from flood damage. So we'll be the first vehicles on this road since then. We're trying to come the back way down into Copperbold, as the locals call it, or as it's known, like Wild Bull Campground or something. But it's going to be a bit of a fluke probably if we can get down there, just because I feel like there's going to be a landslide or massive logs or something. We're hoping we can. It's a few Ks. Done this more times than I can count this morning. This is a good thing I love about electric chainsaw. I just sit it here, pull it out, grab it up, and you press the button and it starts. And then we're being clearing logs of it. That's the end of that plan. We're gonna have to go back, probably have a bit of lunch here, and then head back the other way to try and get out of here. We're not getting down to Copperbold in the river. This log is across the whole track and it's up to my head. That's how big it is. So there's no way we're clearing that. Cold drink is gonna be good after this morning's mission. Both other ways that we tried to get out of this area, once we got up the top of that track, we were just wiped out from flood damage still. Saw that one massive log. The other way had like just a massive washout across the whole road that had wiped the whole thing out. So we ended up having to come back down that track we came up. We're on our way down it now, but it's much quicker on the way back out because I'm not really filming and the track's already all cleared up. Then we'll be back here, across that creek and bridge, and then we'll be back out of here and we're going to head out to BAGO State Forest for the night tonight. Day's moving on now. We're trying to get to camp. It's going to be another might miss the sunset. We're back out our super local state forest now. Is it BAGO State Forest or Broken BAGO State Forest? Come out here for the night and we're doing one of the main track up the front side of BAGO. It's quite a hectic track. Now I don't know where Dad's gone. He's just taken off up the hill. He sort of took the easier side track around there, but gonna give this main one a go. This definitely should be interesting. Hopefully it drives it. I don't really know, but some decent sized steps and ruts here and it's quite loose and scrabbly. At least when you're on those big steps on the rocks, they have a decent amount of traction. But that's the problem. The loose stuff in between doesn't. There's a wheel. Jesus. I'm surrounding a cloud of dust here. Oh. What happened then? Choked on dust. Car smells like dust and burnt rubber. Keep my windows up this time. This is a fairly decent sized hole here. We're gonna tackle it anyway. Not too bad at all. That's where that big flex helps. Only a little wheel lift there. That was the bottom section and first half of this hill climb done, and now we got the top half and top section. This is pretty wild again. It's the one only track and option up there. You can just sort of pick a few different lines along it, but it's very steep and once again very loose and rocky. This is quite a steep and daunting hill climb, this one. Just scrabbling for traction, is that a word? Scrabbling? Oh, I'm hanging on hard to this steering wheel. It's a bit of a place for rollovers and trouble, this sort of territory.
After I watched you, I thought I was in one of those heartbreak hill rides.
Yeah. I got a photo of my rear wheel in the air.
Yeah, he said that.
It's quite a hill.
Yeah.
That locker makes a big difference for you.
Oh, incredible. Incredible.
Straight up the ruts here on this little channel type section. Let's let the car do its thing, hold a little bit of momentum to counteract all that loose stuff. Throttle control. We're up all the worst stuff for this climb. Smell the burnt rubber. Go like that way more when you come up. Did it.
Made it. Sun hasn't gone down yet. We can still sit here and enjoy this sunset. What a spot. Oh, I'm pretty worn out actually. It was quite a big day on the tracks, and that was exhausting this morning, doing all that filming and track clearing and running up and down hills like a maniac, and it's about 30 degrees today. That sunset's pretty nice. I find it interesting, like it seems to be a bit hit and miss whose car performs better. I feel like mine is generally still outdoes yours more than yours outdoes mine.
Yeah, overall it does.
Is that what you reckon, or is that just me making things up?
Overall it does. Just every now and then that thing will fluke something that sort of puts it that little bit in front, but it's the general rule is it's lagging behind.
Yeah, but there's been obstacles like yesterday and today. Mine will play up a bit,
yeah,
and then yours will go through it easier.
Yeah.
So it's still a bit of wonder which one's gonna do better. I'm gonna sit here and have a drink and enjoy this sunset.
Cooking mac and cheese tonight in the skillet on the fire. Haven't tried it before, but gonna give it a go and see what happens. Gonna start with 2.5 cups of pasta and then 2.5 cups of water. Add some salt in, a couple of tablespoons of butter. Read the recipe because I forgot what to do. Chuck the lid on that and then we're gonna put it on the fire for about 10 to 15 minutes for that pasta to cook through. Pasta's about halfway done now. I'm gonna add in some peas and some corn. Stir that around. I need about another 5 minutes or so and it should be done. That's it done there now. The idea is you only putting a little bit of water in because you're just boiling, steaming it through and then dissolving the water and leaving in what's left. So there's a little bit of water left, which will then allow everything to nicely mix around and make a good sauce. You're not actually tipping the water out or anything. Now I just gotta check what I gotta add and mix it through and then it's ready. Some cheese. Just add all this, I guess.
I want some.
Tablespoon of mustard sauce there.
You mean a fork spoon?
Yeah, well, not really a spoon, a table fork.
Yeah, table fork.
Looks pretty good. Looks like mac and cheese. I've never cooked mac and cheese before. Here's the mac and cheese connoisseur. See if it's acceptable. Since I don't really even know what mac and cheese is meant to taste like.
Not too bad.
And a few crushed up chips to go on top to give it some crunch. So how's it taste? Did I do a good job?
Yeah, you're quite good at recipes.
I'm going to add in a little bit of baby spinach to mine and mix around. This bowl's too small, or I've got too much food. Crunch up some chips on top. First time making mac and cheese. Nailed it.
Yeah, sort of.
Professional. Tastes pretty delicious.
Yeah, not too bad.
Packed up camp nice and early this morning, had a bit of brekkie and got out of there. That wind picked up during the night, so it was quite windy there. We got a couple of tracks this morning in mind that we want to take on and then we'll head on out of here. You got that step and then you got that one up there. This is BAGO Steps, I believe it's called. I've heard it called that before. We drove this track a couple of years ago when Dad didn't have the locker and he struggled on it. You ended up having to winch up there, didn't you? So we were keen to come back and give it a go again today because it's not far from where we camped and see if Dad can drive it now with the locker. So you got this first big step here. There is a track around it, but I'm considering giving that a go. And then you got another step there that there's no other option but take on that one. I don't really know why I'm choosing to go the big step there, but anyways, I am. I always put the locker in back down the bottom of these hill climbs rather than trying to put it on when you're halfway up it. We're just going to take this easy because it definitely is a little bit of a dangerous hill and step here. So close. Something's scraping there. Is that a rear diff on a rock? It's hard to tell when you're in the car what's going on, but it felt like that rear diff hit a rock then. So I backed off it, but I didn't want to just punch it again and flog that diff into a rock. Maybe we'll it's just a weird, I got up that big step, but then the only other thing is to try right around the other way. Otherwise I just go the easy way, I guess. Oh jeez, that just was a completely different line there that got me up that. Oh, I can't believe I got up that other one. That was hectic. Oh, geez, that's a mighty climb. I nearly should have broke something with all that chaos. Anyways, I didn't. You can see there, that was the problem on that first line. That diff was just burying itself on that rock. That's one hell of a hill climb. Dad's up next, so I'm interested to see which lines he picks. What ways are you thinking of going up everything?
We've got to get over watching yours.
Dad's going to take the track around that one. He had a bit of a nudge of it, but wasn't really close. That's where mine having that massive flex, that's what did it there for me. He just really struggles without that flex. Here he comes. Let's just smash our car to pieces on the way down this hill. Okay. I'm glad I have sliders and bash plates under this thing, or I just would have smashed everything to pieces. Dropping down off Mount BAGO now, down a very steep and chewed out hill. I'm glad we're not going up this. Just ease it down very slow. I'm having to clutch this. It's going too fast otherwise. I'm not clutching. Got that rear locker in just to help stabilize things a bit. Oh man, this is a really bad hill even coming down. I just think you really need bigger tyres for this hill. Our size tyres, you just can't avoid all the rocks. You just smash and diffs and your underbelly on everything. Anyways, I think we're just about down the bottom now. Alright, I think that'll do us for this weekend. We've bashed our vehicles around enough. Had a hell of a fun time doing it. It's amazing what you can find and explore and do out in your local area. We live in a really lucky area here, and there's some really tough tracks as well. Hopefully my car's still in one piece. Might need to check it a bit when I get home. Actually, I'll show you one funny thing. When we first started this trip a couple of days ago, when I was airing down my tyres, I'd heard a bit of a rattle coming from the back. So when I was airing down my tyres, I was looking, and then I noticed that the shock was missing the bolt. So luckily I caught it when I did. So I ended up finding a nut that was the right size, but the threads weren't like spaced apart enough. So I kind of just jammed that on, but I damaged the first couple of threads. I could have put it all the way on, but I didn't want to wreck the whole bolt because it's welded in, which means I would have had to cut the whole thing off and re-weld a new one on. So I just put that bolt on a bit, put a heap of tape around it, put a Utilux clip or hose clamp, whatever you want to call it, around it. And that seemed to hold up the whole weekend, so that's how that shock's been held on. So I need to get the right size nut for that. See if I can get it started. If not, I'll grind those first couple of threads off and then put it on. One other mod which I've been meaning to show for a while now, I've had this on for ages, but I keep forgetting to show everyone, is a GPS tracker which I got on the vehicle, so I can keep an eye on it from my phone at all times and know where it is. So it's an Ultimate 9 tracker, which I won't say where it's installed on the car because obviously I don't want to give that away. So I've hidden it away in the car there, and then it links up via like satellite or whatever, and so it'll always tell me where my car is. So that's obviously me, my car's right next to me there. So then if the worst happens and the car gets taken, well, you can check on your phone where it is. Or even when it's being serviced or having work done on it, you can track where it's been and get your history and that. It's pretty cool, just a way to be safe, I guess, of your car and keep an eye on where it is and what's going on. Anyways, just thought I'd share that. I thought they're a pretty worthy investment. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the video. We'll end it there and we'll see you on the next one. Here we are. I already said that. Spent a few minutes mucking around the vehicles trying to find our spots, and nice. That's most things set up. Got the roof. Not sure if you remember Not sure if you remember from last episode where we are in regional New South Wales. We've actually just come down of a... where we are in regional New South Wales. We've actually just come down where we are in region. Beautiful night out. So dusty. Then we're going to head out for an explorer. Had a quick bit of brekkie and packed up camp. No, very windy there during the night, so didn't have the best sleep. No, I don't even know what's up. We're on a couple of tracks zigzagging our way out of this forest this morning. I already said this morning. We're on a couple of tracks zigzagging our way out of here. We got a couple of tracks this